Students, in the previous video we had seen about the history of your optical fiber communication and the basic block diagram of your optical fiber communication. So in this video we will be seeing about the advantages and disadvantages of an optical fiber communication system and the ray theory transmission concepts. First is your advantages of your optical fiber communication. So the advantages are going to be, one is enormous potential bandwidth. So here in an optical communication system, since the data rate is going to be very high, we can see that the bandwidth is also going to be very high. So if I am going to have a higher bandwidth, I can transmit more data. So we say that it is going, your optical fiber communication is going to have an enormous potential bandwidth. Next is small size and weight. So small size and weight is, here you know that the fiber size is going to be very small and the weight is also going to be less here compared to your copper cables. Next is electrical isolation. So since your fiber is going to be a dielectric material, in that case there is going to be no electricity that is going to pass through the cable there. So as a result we can say that your fiber is going to be electrically isolated. Next is immunity to interference and crosstalk. So immunity to interference and crosstalk is, if there is going to be any interference that is going to be present due to your electromagnetic interference or because of the crosstalk of the signals, your optical fiber cable will take care and see that there is going to be no interference or crosstalk to be present in the fiber core. Next is signal security. So signal security is, when I am going to transmit the signal through the core, there is going to be no interference and it is also going to be electrically isolated. So as a result, whatever signal I want to transmit, it is going to be transmitted in a secured manner there. And next is the transmission loss. So when I am going to transmit the information through the optical fiber cable, the loss that is going to be encountered by the core is going to be very less. So we say low transmission loss. Next is ruggedness and flexibility. So ruggedness and flexibility is, your optical fiber cable can be flexible. So in that case we can see that we can use it in environment where bending is also required. Next is the system reliability and ease of maintenance. System reliability and ease of maintenance is, in this case, since there is going to be your we can rely on the system and the maintenance cost is also, maintenance is involved for the optical fiber system is also going to be very easy there, because the losses will be less, so there is going to be less chances of damage to the cable there. Next is the potential low cost. Only the installation cost will be more, but once it is installed, the operation cost is going to be very low. These are the advantages of your optical fiber communication. Next is, we are going to see the disadvantages of optical fiber communications. So the disadvantages are, one is high initial cost. So high initial cost is, the initial cost of the installation and setting up is going to be very high. Next is the maintenance and repairing cost. So the maintenance and repairing cost is, if there is going to be a problem or if there is going to be cut in the fiber core, then in that case the repairing cost is going to be very high, because it requires the connectors, the repeaters, all those things. So in that case the system will be expensive. And next is jointing and test procedures. So jointing and test procedures is, since your optical fibers are going to be of very small size, it is very difficult to join the fibers. So when I want to join the fibers and do the testing process, I require a skilled labor or manpower there. Next is tensile stress. So tensile stress is, your optical fiber is going to be susceptible to your buckling process or your bending and tensile stress compared to that of the copper cables. So here in this case we can restrict the practice to your premises, that is to the building and the floor backbones, with a few interfaces to the copper cables. So installing in the building is going to be costly. So in that case what we can do is, we can interface it with the help of the copper cables there. Short links. So short links are going to be not cost effective. So not cost effective means it is going to replace even a very small conventional connector. So here in this case, when I am going to use it, we cannot rely on the optical fiber cable even for short links there, because it is not going to be a cost effective one. So here, because the optoelectronic transducers what I am going to use is going to be of very high value there. Next is the fiber losses. So fiber losses is, here the amount of optical fiber that is going to be available to the photodetector. So where the photodetector is going to be at the end of the fiber length is going to depend on various fiber losses there. So the fiber losses can be either a scattering loss or a dispersion loss or attenuation loss or reflection loss. So the applications of optical fiber communication is it can be used. So since your data is going to be secure, it can be used in your military applications there, and in your electronics application I can use your optical fiber communication. Next is we are going to go for the concept called ray theory. So as we are going to use your electromagnetic waves, the light rays to pass through the fiber, we should know the concept of your optical loss there. So here in this case we are going to take your free space, and in this free space your light is going to travel at a maximum speed of 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second, or 186 into 10 power 3 miles per second there. So when the light is going to travel through the material, it is going to follow either one of the process, either your laws of reflection or your laws of refraction there. So here the radio waves and the light waves are nothing but the electromagnetic waves which are going to be used to transmit the data through the fiber there. So here the speed of the electromagnetic wave in free space is going to be 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So in that case the distance that is going to be traveled during each cycle is going to be called as wavelength. So here we are going to define it in terms of your fiber optics. So your fiber optics is nothing but, in fiber optics we will not be defining the terms in terms of frequency. So whatever data or this ray we want to transmit, we are not going to define it in terms of the frequencies. We are going to define it in terms of the wavelength of light. So here the wavelength is going to be stated in terms of your microns or nanometers. So 1 micron is equivalent to 1 micrometer, and 1 nano is equivalent to 10 power minus 9 meters. So now the electromagnetic spectrum we are going to see, the electromagnetic spectrum is going to vary from low frequencies to high frequencies. So a fiber optic is going to use a high frequency region there, where it is going to be from 10 power 14 to 10 power 16 region there. So in that case we are going to speak in terms of your wavelength. The wavelength that we are going to use in the optical for optical fiber is going to be from 660 nanometers to 1550 nanometers there. So within this range your optical fiber communication is going to take place. So here your fiber optics, we are going to use two types of light. One is a visible light and the other one is a infrared light. So a visible light is going to be used for a wide variety of your wavelengths, a wide range of wavelengths. But visible light, if I am going to see, your visible light is going to be used for short range transmission using a plastic fiber. But infrared light is going to be used for wide range of wavelengths there. So the laws that are going to govern the nature of the light is going to be called as your laws of optics or your ray theory concept. So here we assume that the light is going to travel at the same speed. But in actual practice, light will not travel at the same speed. It will depend upon the medium in which the light is going to transfer there. So here based on the medium of light, your speed will vary there. So when the light is going to be traveling through the medium or through a material, it is going to be governed by either laws of reflection or refraction concept. First we'll see the reflection concept. So reflection concept is, I am going to take a reflective surface. To this reflective surface I am going to have a ray to be incident. So here I am going to take a ray that is going to be incident on this reflective surface, where this incident ray is going to make an angle phi 1 with the normal to your reflective surface there. So when the ray is going to be incident on the reflective surface, this ray will get reflected back. So when it is going to be reflected back, the reflected ray will make an angle phi 2 with the normal to the reflective surface there. So here when I am going to see that your angle phi 1 is nothing but the angle of incidence and phi 2 is nothing but the angle of reflection. And both of these angles are going to be measured with respect to normal to the reflective surface. So as a result, laws of reflection is nothing but angle of incidence phi 1 is equal to angle of reflection phi 2. So that is what we have said here. So when a light ray is going to be incident upon a reflective surface at some incident angle phi 1, from the imaginary perpendicular normal, the ray will be reflected from the surface at some angle phi 2 from the normal, and which is going to be equivalent to the angle of incidence. So next is your refraction concept. So in a refraction concept is, when we are going to see a refraction concept is, when a ray is going to be incident on a surface, where the surface is going to be, or the interface is going to be between two mediums there. So when the light is going to pass from one medium to another medium, we are going to see the concept of the light ray is going to change the direction there. So when the light ray is going to change the direction, then we call it as your refraction process. So example, when I am going to see, if I am going to have a glass of water, in this glass of water, if I am going to have a straw to be inserted into the glass of water, from outside we can see that the straw is going to be bent inside the glass. So this bent nature is nothing but your refraction process. So here your refraction is going to occur at the air and water interface in the glass of water there. So now when an incident ray, here in this case we are going to take two mediums, where one medium is going to be air and the other medium is going to be the glass. So when this air is going to be, the interface between the air and the glass is going to be, this is the interface surface there. So when a ray is going to be instant on this interface of your air and glass, the waveform, the ray is going to be refracted. So it is not reflected, it is going to be refracted, and it is going to be towards the normal when the ray moves from less dense medium to a more denser medium there. So this is called as a refracted wave. This refracted wave is going to be bent and it is going to be towards the normal. So the speed of the light in free space. So in free space, the speed of the light is going to be higher compared to that of the water or glass. So your refraction is nothing but your ray is going to be bent towards the normal. Thank you.